I'll try to be quick and make sure that we get through this. All right, let's go. State the slope and the y-intercept. Well, y equals mx plus b, and so we have y equals 4x plus 1. Well, 4 is our slope, and 1 is our y-intercept. All right, so that would be slope then y-intercept, so that's going to be 4 and 1. All right, now we have the entrance to a fee to the entrance fee to a national park is 15. A campsite fee is 15 per night. So just to get in is 15. Then we're going to add on to that repeatedly with a rate, a constant rate, is 15 per night. So that's our initial value, or y-intercept, and this is our rate of change, which is our slope. Okay? Now, it says graph the equation. So initial value, y-intercept, that is going to be where our line crosses the y-axis. So that's there. So this is not the one. That one could be the one. That one could be the one. And that one is not the one because 15 is right there. So that one's not. So we're between two. Now we have to look at that slope. So we took care of the y-intercept. Now we got to look at the slope, which I'm going to say is 15 over 1. Knowing what that represents is important. It's $15 per night, right? $15 for every one night. So when we go to our graph, we want to see a rate of change of, okay, so it increases by $15 because it went from 15 up to $30. Okay, that's the height of this other dot. Now we go over, and that's $15. The vertical direction, that represents a change of 15, and that's one night because it goes from here over to here. That's a change of one night. Okay, if we keep that going, it goes from $30 up to $45, and then over 1 up 15, over 1 up 15. Oopsie, I went up, sorry, went up 20. Oops. Up 15 over 1, up 15 over 1. Okay, we can see that constant rate of change, so the answer is B right there. All right, moving on. We got number 3, state the slope and the y-intercept. So we have y equals mx plus b, y equals 1/5 x plus 2. We have our slope of 1/5 and our y-intercept of 2. So that's 1/5 and 2, so that's D. All right, so we're back to this similar situation, the same situation as before, except this time it says use a graph to find the total cost for 4 nights. So we can go back to problem number 2, to our graph, and figure out, well, 4 nights. 4 nights here is $75. All right, we can look at it that way because it says use a graph. All right, or we can just say, well, X represents the number of nights, so Y equals 15 times 4 plus 15. Y equals 60 plus 15. I'm just simplifying. And Y equals 75. Okay, when I plug in 4 for X, I get Y equals 75. So that's $75 right there. Number 5. State the slope and y-intercept, and we know that that's M and that's B, so it's going to be negative 3, 5. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're back to this same situation again, and we use the graph to interpret the slope and the y-intercept. All right, so if we look back at that graph, we know that it crosses the y-axis at 15, and that it increases by $15 every one day. Okay, what does that mean? All right, well, let's see. The slope represents the one-time cost of the park entrance. So is slope a one-time cost? No. Slope is a repeating cost. The slope represents the cost per night. Okay, the y-intercept 15 represents the one-time cost for the entrance fee. So is the y-intercept the one-time cost? Yes. Is the slope the repeating cost per night? Yes. So there we have it. All right, and we just like, this says y-intercept is the cost per night. No, it's not. And the slope is the one-time cost. No, it's not. All right. State the slope and the y-intercept. Well, in this case, we have, in this case, there's nothing in front of the variable. There's no coefficient. So when there's nothing, we say it's a 1. So then we have our slope is 1 and our y-intercept is 4. That would be A. Okay, same idea for this. Slope is 5, 6. And the y-intercept is -3. And now we are going to find, let's see, what is the, oh, it says graph each equation. All right, so we have to graph this. So what do? Our first step is to write out the slope and the y-intercept. Slope equals 2/3, y-intercept equals 1. Okay, step 2, so that's step 1. Step 2 is to plot the y-intercept. All right, so our y-intercept is 1, so we have to look for where it crosses. No, 1 would be here. That's wrong. Okay, does it cross the y-axis at 1? No, it does not. Ah, this crosses the y-axis at 1, so that's a possibility. This crosses the y-axis at 1, so that's a possibility. So now our last step is to use slope to find additional points. Okay, so we're going to find slope. We have a slope of 2/3. Oh, this doesn't work. Sorry. Okay, 2/3. So that means we put our pencil right here on the y-intercept, and we go rise 2, run 3. Oh, yay, we're back on the line. So this is our answer. If we look over here, what's wrong with this one? Well, it looks like we have to drop 2 and run 3. So that would be a -2/3 slope, right? That would be our equation for that one. But obviously it's a negative slope, so that can't be the answer. We're getting to the end. I think this might be our last one. All right, so first step here, when we're graphing equations in slope-intercept form, is we are going to find the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is -2, so we have a negative slope. So it should be decreasing from left to right, and we have our y-intercept of 2. So let's look at A first. Our second step is to plot the y-intercept. 3 would be to plot additional points using the slope. Use the slope to plot additional points using slope. Okay, you might want to write those 3 steps down a couple times so you have them. We have our y-intercept there. So we got yes, this one fits the y-intercept, and now we have to plot additional points using the slope. So we have a negative slope, so we have to drop here. I'm going to put -2/1. Okay, so down 2/1. And yay, down 2/1. Down 2/1. Yay, that's the one. Okay, so let's look at other ones. Okay, that has a the correct y-intercept, but this is a positive slope, so that'd be y equals 2x, 2 over 1, but we don't have to really write that, plus 2. So that's wrong because it has a positive slope instead of negative slope. This one has the wrong y-intercept, so that would be y equals, we'd have plus 1 instead of plus 2, and it's decreasing. Looks like decreasing by 2 over 1x, which we don't really need the 1 under there. All right, and this one is, we have our y equals blank x plus blank. We have a a y-intercept of -2 and a slope of -2 over 1, but I can just write it as -2. Okay, and that is it, I believe. Yes, there you go. So that's quickly running through how I would have done the problems. Hopefully that helps you with a better understanding of this lesson.